At the absolute bedrock of reality, there is a singular, indivisible perfection. The philosopher Plotinus called this foundation the One, or the Good. The One is not a being. It cannot be categorized, labeled, or mapped by human language. Any attempt to define it through discursive reasoning limits it, and the One is, by definition, limitless. This means reality is not an artifact. There is no cosmic craftsman deliberating over a blueprint, deciding to forge a universe out of nothing. Instead, the One generates existence completely effortlessly. It does not plan, it does not think, and it takes no direct action to construct the cosmos. The mechanism at work here is emanation. Perfection, by its physical and metaphysical nature, cannot contain itself. It unavoidably overflows. Think of a star. A star's inner activity is nuclear fusion, and that activity naturally radiates heat and light outward as a secondary effect. But unlike a physical star, the One never degrades. It emanates this outward energy eternally, without ever diminishing its central power or its absolute unity. Existence, therefore, is not an event that happened at a specific point in time. The universe is an eternal consequence, the perpetual radiation of a perfect source. As this radiation pours outward, it drops in ontological purity, creating a secondary level of reality known as a hypostasis, a distinct, substantial realm of being. The first of these is Nous, the divine mind or pure intelligence. The fundamental action of Nous is cognitive. It is the raw energy of the One attempting to understand itself by turning back to contemplate its own source. Observing creates division. Unity fractures into thinker and thought. This separation triggers a geometric explosion of concepts, generating the Platonic forms. These are the eternal blueprints for all physical existence. Every property and rule is established here. We have moved from the absolute indivisibility of the One into multiplicity. Intellectual contemplation inherently requires this separation to categorize and organize ideas, yet this realm is entirely immaterial. The forms are not dead, static shapes resting in a cosmic vault. They are dynamic, teeming with conscious life, and interacting effortlessly. At this level of reality, thought and existence are identical. To conceptualize the architecture of the universe is the exact same thing as manifesting it. From the dense internal contemplation of the divine mind, another consequence falls out. This is the third hypostasis, the soul. This downward cascade of reality from higher to lower states is a mechanism called protos, or procession. Each level of being effortlessly produces the one directly below it. The soul operates with a dual gaze. Its higher, rational aspect eternally looks upward, contemplating the divine mind to absorb the perfect blueprints of the forms. Simultaneously, its lower aspect extends downward. It takes those perfect blueprints and uses them to organize, animate, and govern the dense dimensions below it. The soul is the translator. It converts the static, eternal architecture of the divine mind into the flowing, temporal dimensions of space and time. The physical universe does not contain the soul. The entire physical universe, with all its planets and stars, rests entirely inside the soul. Plotinus distinguishes between the higher rational soul and a lower function he calls nature. Nature governs the autonomic, blind biological processes of the physical world: growth, metabolism, and decay. Without the soul, the divine abstracts would remain locked in eternity. The soul converts that perfection into a living, breathing, and inherently flawed physical cosmos. At the absolute bottom of this ontological descent lies matter. This is the fringe where the emanating energy of the One finally exhausts itself. In Neoplatonism, matter is not a physical substance. It is pure privation, a formless, immaterial non-entity defined entirely by its lack of existence. It is crucial to understand that matter is not an active, opposing force. There is no cosmic war between a god of light and a god of physical darkness. Just as darkness has no power of its own and exists only where light fails to reach, matter is simply the baseline absence of the One's energetic emanation. This defines the Neoplatonic theory of moral evil. Evil is not a tangible, aggressive presence. It is an ontological misdirection. Evil occurs when a human soul forgets its divine origin. Instead of looking upward toward the intellect, the soul directs its attention downward, becoming absorbed by the chaotic passivity of the physical shell. The material world itself is the effortless product of cosmic providence. It is essentially good. It is the soul's obsessive concern for this lower realm that corrupts it. Our greatest existential threat is not a dark, opposing power. It is our own willingness to be seduced by an empty, formless illusion. Because the physical world is situated at the absolute bottom of the emanation chain, it is an imperfect image, inherently doomed to structural decay. This decay is the unavoidable symptom of existing at the furthest possible ontological remove from the perfection of the One. Entropy rolls here. The relentless, unforgiving passage of time guarantees the slow, inevitable erasure of all material constructs. Yet, placed right in the middle of this decaying environment is the human being, a perfect microcosm of the entire Neoplatonic architecture. We contain the whole hierarchy. Our physical bodies mirror matter, our biological functions mirror nature, and rational thought mirrors the soul. This structural reality dictates the core ethical imperative of Platonian philosophy, epistrophe. Epistrophe is the active, intentional return of the soul to its divine origins. The true purpose of human life is not to achieve social harmony or political success. The goal is the literal deification of the self. Because we contain the entire cosmic hierarchy within us, we possess a unique, terrifying responsibility. We can either drown in matter, or we can climb back to the source. The first step of this ascent involves the civic virtues: justice, temperance, and courage. These are utilized strictly as tools to detach from bodily passions. Virtue is merely a prerequisite. It pacifies the physical shell and silences the demands of the body, so the rigorous intellectual work can begin. The primary tool for this work is dialectic. Dialectic is the supreme analytical method used to strip away the illusions, biases, and contradictions of sensory data. By pushing intellectual contemplation to its absolute limit, the individual soul begins to recognize its true identity, merging its thoughts with the eternal forms of the divine mind. This prepares the mind for the ultimate goal, Henosis, or mystical union. This is the final, non-discursive leap that moves beyond thought and language entirely. In this union, the individual soul completely dissolves its boundaries. It permanently abrogates all concern for the physical universe, losing itself in the absolute. The ontological cycle is complete. The emanation that cascaded down into the darkness of matter finally returns to the absolute, blinding source. Reality is an eternal, unyielding cosmic loop. We are not fragile bodies searching for a creator. We are fragments of divinity, tasked with remembering how to go home.